Welcome back. This is By the Book, and we're your married relationship coaches. I'm Sant.
I'm Sil.
And today we're talking about Married at First Sight, Season 18. I don't know what episode we're on. We're in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Trying to catch up with you guys. Obviously, if you followed along with us for the last few years, you know we fell off for a little bit. So we're catching up to you halfway through Season 18. Want to talk a little bit about Madison and Allen. I'm just even learning these guys' names, but they have an interesting dynamic. This season is bad again. So it's pretty bad. But Madison and Allen, I feel like, have flown a little bit under the radar up until now for me because we had David and Michelle who were so predominantly negative. It was such a bad vibe between the two of them that the bad vibe that there was between Allen and Madison just kind of like was swept underneath the rug. I think some of those things are now starting to like come out. We just watched the after party. Allen was on there, get his take on some of the stuff that's going on. And I don't know. I think it's very funny, my husband and I, when we have these conversations because we have such vastly different angles that we view these types of relationships and these types of like unfortunate matchups, if you will, for one another. Thought this would be fun to talk about a little bit. So I'll kick it over to Sal for his opinion on Madison and Allen. I personally like Madison. I mean, I shouldn't say personally. I do not know her, even though I'm from Chicago. But I like what I get from watching her on TV.
Interesting.
You don't?
I won't say that I don't like her. I think she's cool. You know what I mean? But her with Allen, and I think how she's kind of like gone about this marriage and making this marriage work. No, I don't like it.
What has she done wrong?
I don't like it.
What do you feel like her shortcomings are? Because
she doesn't like him, and she's single-minded. We saw right off the rip, the first day back, she wanted to kick it with her friends, stay out all night long with her friends and everything, didn't come back. And so I do understand that there's a transition between, you know, the mindset, okay, I'm married now versus I've been living a single life for X amount of years. I do get that. However, without understanding and going through the process of I am married, and how is my husband going to kind of think about or feel about me staying out all night long with my friends? And I don't even think she called him to let him know that she was staying all night long. And so
I can't remember. It was so many episodes ago.
And so I hear her. I think she's cool. She's good people. Just not married minded. I have not seen that. And then how she's kind of like going about this relationship or non-relationship with Allen. She definitely has friend zoned him. That's not to say that she's not trying in her own like little way. You know what I'm saying? She could be trying her hardest, her in her own little way. But when he's trying to have conversation with her and he's trying to gauge where she's at, because I feel that he does like her, but he doesn't want to come off looking like a total simp in this whole thing. And so I think he's trying to gauge her, hey, if you just let me know that I'm in the friend zone and you're staying in the friend zone, I can act like that. We could just be best buds. But if I'm going through this process and I'm, you know, the magic word that they all use, vulnerable, and I'm being vulnerable with you.
I'm going to probably use it because they use it so much that I just can't help it.
You know, I'm being vulnerable on TV, national TV, millions and millions of people watching this. You know, if we're going to go through the process, let me know that you're in this thing with me and that we're doing this thing together. Or we can just kick it as best buds and then I can be done with this. And I think that's what he's really trying to come across and trying to get across to her. That's why he's asking her these questions.
And again, if you guys watch us, we have this hype of conversation. I feel like every season, at least every other season, but I think more frequently than that. What I feel like I miss from you in that whole explanation is the room for her to be processing the answer to that question. I think it's very frustrating as someone who is the slower mover in a relationship. I know this is a marriage to you, it's not to me, but whatever. In a relationship of any kind, the person who's the slower mover, the person who doesn't process their feelings or their emotions as quickly, the person who's not immediately attracted, right? Yeah. Sometimes it takes them more time to say, yeah, you know, I can make this work. They got a lot of stuff to sort through, right? Like, okay, I saw him. That's what she's saying, essentially. I'm being more, or what's her name, Madison, for a minute. Like, I saw him straight out the gate. He wasn't a pretty boy like I'm used to. He's not muscular. He don't look like he ever been in the gym. I work out every day. Like, she's got the shoulders and the arms and, you know, all of that good stuff. She's full on athletic. And they don't match in her head. And she's having a difficult time trying to decide. Like, she sees the good. She's like, yeah, he's a nice guy. He's a good person, blah, blah, blah. That's not all she needs. That's not all he wants her to see, right? So she has to dig a little bit deeper. It's not this knee-jerk thing where it's like right off the bat, boom, instant chemistry, stars and lights. No, it's not that. So now I have to see, okay, can I see this person in this type of role in my life? Whereas for him, if he saw her and was immediately attracted, boom, 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 chemistry's there, everything looks good, he can write it right down right now. Like, yeah, I'm ready to commit. I will say yes if she says yes. But he's got an answer instantly. She doesn't. Maybe her answer takes 8 weeks. So when he's at week number 3 or week number 4 and he's like nailing it down like, hey, what's it gonna be? And she doesn't have an answer and he doesn't have the patience for that, that's when like the timing thing becomes a real factor. And it's unfortunate. I'm not saying I don't sympathize with him, because I do. Because I feel like he's hanging out there twisting in the wind. He doesn't know what's going on. But I'm saying I feel like people in that position are best served if they can be patient. Because if they can exercise you're going to get the answer one way or another. Yeah. Right? Especially in this show. Maybe not in real life situations. You may be hanging on for years, but if you decide to hang on that long, that's kind of on you. But this show is only 8 weeks long. So if you don't have the answers that you need in week 3, just hang on. It's only 5 more weeks. Play the role however you decide to play the role. If her not being into you is so off-putting that it like flips the script on how you behave, so be it. So be it. Then maybe you guys just weren't meant to be. But similar to the way that I feel Ikechi is at least saying that he feels, it's like, I don't have an answer for you right now. I don't have the answer that you're looking for. I don't have a cut and dry yes or no. So you're going to have to sit with that, be okay with it, or don't. Yeah. And it's just going to have to be what it's going to be. Okay. I'm not mad at her, I guess is what I'm saying. It was a long way of me saying. I'm not upset with Madison for not having a direct answer for him right now, because she doesn't have a direct answer for herself.
Okay, fair enough. But when he asked the question, when they were ziplining, you know, about them having a future, okay, and she comes back, forever's a long time, you know, that little quip. It's not what you say a lot of times, it's how you say it. And if she's confused about that, that's a discussion, you know? Like, Allen, I'm very confused. I know what I've always wanted, and I'm trying to bridge these whole things together. You know, we just met, and all of this stuff is moving really fast, and I don't know, but I do feel I need to talk about it with you, because we got married. And so having that discussion with him openly, she doesn't have to try to figure out this whole thing in her head. And like you just said, keep him twisting in the wind. And so
two things I want to say to that though. I want to let you finish your point if you're not done.
Yeah. So they can have a discussion outright on where she's at. Of course, by her still being respectful, and I think she is a respectful person, and so still being respectful of his of him as a man, as her husband, and all of that stuff. Not just coming out and being like, hey, your body's horrible or whatever the case may be, whatever's putting her off, but being like, I do see your qualities, and I do see why they probably put us together. And so, but I'm trying to make a connection, from mental to emotional, and I don't know how to get there. And having that discussion with him openly, and also letting him know, you know what, I've always wanted to be married, and at the end of this thing, I hope that we're still together, or whatever the case. If she can go that far and say that,
I don't know if she can.
That would reassure him. And he would twist a little bit less.
Maybe.
But go ahead.
But she may be lying if she said that. And I think that's a hard thing. I think people don't want to lie in these situations, but they also don't want to be rude in these situations. So they're threatening a very, small needle to try to say the right thing or not say the wrong thing. I think, but to the point, I don't even know if I remember both things that I wanted to say to what you were saying. But it's kind of like being an armchair quarterback. Us sitting back and watching them say the wrong thing in this situation, and then being able to give this very elaborate and robust explanation that you just gave because you weren't the one on the spot trying to answer an awkward question is kind of tough. I could probably write a whole long soliloquy about this is what she should have said and this is how she should have delivered it, but she's being asked a question right here on a zip line thing or whatever they were doing. I don't know. I've been on one of the things before, walking the rope. But anyway, she's being asked right on the spot, right in front of cameras, in the middle of an excursion of some sort. And it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, and this isn't the time or the place for me to have this long, drawn-out answer for you. I'm not going to be like, Alan, when I think about us together, I'm not going into all of that right now. What am I going to give you? And that's the thing. I don't know if this is just the Chicago women from this season. I be feeling the responses that they have to this stuff. I felt that response 100%. That would have almost been verbatim what I said because it's an awkward situation where I feel like I would have felt if I'm Madison backed into a corner where you're trying to catch me at this vulnerable moment, this very uncomfortable, I don't have time for a long answer, so it's kind of like a yes or no type thing. Put me on the spot. I do not like to be put on the spot. I don't. So I'm going to be annoyed, honestly, a little bit with that question, right? Especially if I don't have a clear-cut answer for you. And I know that because of our interactions that I don't have a clear-cut answer for you. But you're backing me into a corner and kind of trying to force me to give you a clear-cut answer, even though I don't have one. This is how I would receive it. I
don't think he necessarily needed a clear-cut answer.
But he was asking for one right there.
It did garner kind of like a yes or no almost. But I just think he was really, I'm trying to get into his head. I know that.
I know, it's same. I'm doing the same thing.
But I do think he would have been satisfied with just the discussion, even if it didn't have
having a discussion on the zip line.
But it doesn't seem like they ever have had this conversation, and that's why he doesn't know. That's why he's so confused. That's why he's sitting in the after party talking about, I don't know where I stand with this woman other than I'm in the friend zone. That's all I know. And so as nice as she is, as respectful as she is, she just super duper avoiding him. And that's not paying any dividends to him or the relationship.
She's avoiding it because she doesn't have the answers. She's probably leaning more negative than positive, but she's trying to find her way to a more positive outcome. This is happening in her head. It's not happening with him. There's not a whole lot that he can probably do to help her make that decision. This is something that she's just processing internally. Like, can I deal with his bad body? I'm not saying he has a bad body. I'm just saying this is what I think she's thinking. I'm not saying that at all. I don't think there's any. I think he's got a nice face. I do. Like, I don't know. It's something baby and like very endearing to his face to me. Yeah, but I could see it not being attractive to her, so can I deal with his face? Can I deal with his body? Can I deal with his disregard for, healthy things? Can I deal with the fact that, he thinks it's okay to drink and drive? That's a big deal.
That was it.
That's a big deal to everybody. It should be. Can I deal with like his pouty attitude? Like, you're a little bit passive aggressive.
He is passive.
That whole situation with the not coming to the football thing, And then for heaven's sake, the previews that we saw where she threw him a ball and you know what? I'll just leave that part alone. But can I deal with these types of things? Is this really like something that should break a relationship? Probably not. But am I mature enough at this point to handle these things and handle them well? Maybe not. So it's just a lot of internal processing that I think she has going on, and him pressing her for answers at this point is not helping.
Yeah, this is true. But I don't think he's pressing. I think he's just trying to have a conversation with her.
I can guarantee you to her, it feels like pressing. Because if you've already asked me once and I've given you a deflection type of an answer, don't ask me again. Because you know what I mean? That it only takes 2 times for it to start feeling like pressure.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. If you thought that this was a real marriage, okay, it's a couple of years into it or whatever, they're having some issues, intimacy issues.
Yes,
okay?
years.
Okay, a couple years into it, all right? So it's the same dynamic.
Yeah.
The woman is avoiding and the man is kind of pressing. The husband is pressing. So what would you advise in that situation?
Probably.
But as far as the conversation between them, should he ask? Should he bring up, because he sees and he feels that there's some issues here. We need to talk about them. We got to get them out.
But I feel like that's so different because I feel like at that point, we're going to cut this off soon, guys, because we're like veering off topic.
Yeah, it is. But
I feel like at that point you can draw upon the foundation of that relationship. What brought you all together in the first place? Where did you guys link and meet and coincide, mentally, physically, emotionally? Like, where are those things that connected you from the beginning? And what has gone awry at this point that wasn't at a place where you were in a better place?
Yeah.
And try to get back there. Try to retrace your steps to that. They ain't got no steps, man. They don't have anything. So it's really hard. She is trying to create a narrative in her head where she can see him in her future. And right now she's having a hard time doing it. And I'm just saying the pressure of that situation is not going to make her more likely to say yes to a future together, to say yes to decision day, to say yes to anything, because she's backed in a corner right now. That's what I think. Yeah, let us know what you think. Okay. Yeah, I don't feel like Madison is a jerk. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with Allen. I just feel like it's one of those things where the chemistry isn't there and she can hardly get past it He's uncomfortable.
He's being rejected.
And he's starting to act out. We can see from the previews, we can see a little bit from what's already happened, but we can also see definitively from the previews that there's going to be what I think are some behavioral issues on his part because he just can't take it anymore.
Well, a person can only be rejected so many times before it is going to build up and he's going to begin to act out. And that's exactly what Allen is starting to do.
Yeah, it seems like it. But don't act out. Like, if this is a deal breaker for you, then just go ahead and end this situation. It's a trial marriage to me. Let it go. Let it go.
Frozen.
Okay. So, anyway, guys, like I said, let us know what your thoughts are on Allen and Madison. If you think there's any possibility that they can make it, let us know. If you think, let me know what you think about my theory specifically. It's okay. I know a lot of you will disagree with me. I feel like that's a theme for our audience, but I can only speak from the heart. These are things a lot of times that I've been through. Like, I'm old and I've been through things in life, and I can understand some of the things that I watch on these shows. It's like a little snippet from something that you've experienced sometimes in your life, and you can opine on those things. So I can just say that from my own individual perspective, but I'm curious to know if there are any of you out there who kind of agree with my thought process. I know many of you will agree with my sympathetic husband.
Oh my goodness, it's hard being at the top of the mountain.
Anyway, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. We will talk to you guys soon.
Bye.